Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new around here. Today, I'd like to share my chapter outlining process with you. I made a short version of this already, so if you prefer that, it's available. For those that prefer long-form content and more in-depth explanations, this one is for you. So, a while ago, I made this video about my outlining process, which I used to plan my paranormal romance novel. I published it on the platform Webnovel, and on there, shorter chapters in size and bigger in numbers tend to do a lot better, which means I had to cater to the demands of the audience there and make my plan around that fact. Since I've posted that video, however, I made a lot of changes to the document. I added a lot of details and expanded on a few things a bit more. I mean, as you can see here, this is the same Google Docs file, and it looks kind of different from before. I want to make a second video where I go over all of these changes and adjustments, as well as the reasons I made them. Same goes for the additions. But today is chapter outlining day. Exactly like in the short video, I will be focusing on chapter 21 of the novel. This chapter has been online for months already, but well. This is kind of the basic plan or form that I follow to build my chapters. Does everyone need to outline their chapters? I don't think so. I believe that everyone should follow the methods that they're comfortable with, the methods that give them the best results when it comes to most things in life, actually, not just writing. I personally get overwhelmed fairly quickly and distracted quite easily. That's where the need for guidance and planning comes from, for me, that is. I haven't always been this organized. Up until, I'd say, 8 months ago, when I realized that even though sometimes I hyper-focus on writing, the majority of the time I need a bit of help in order to get things done. In this case, the help comes in the form of an outline. All right, let's look at this outline then. The first thing to note is that I always split my chapter outlines into two blocks, the setting and the talking points. In the setting, I simply put the place where the scene or scenes take place, as well as the time frames if necessary. I also built the habit of noting all of the characters that will be part of said chapter, but also ones that will be mentioned by name. It adds a layer of clarity for me, especially when I go back to old chapters looking for a specific character's presence. The second block is kind of the meat and potatoes. It basically contains all of the talking points, every important actions that the characters make, their train of thoughts, the conversations that they will have. If we take this 21st chapter as an example, it starts with Rosemary, the female lead, arriving to work on a Monday morning. She goes over a few thoughts before being greeted by her boss. As you can see here in the notes, this is his first ever appearance in the novel as a character, and thus I tried to establish a few things about him. His demeanor, the way he carries himself, the words he chooses to use, but most importantly, his dynamic with Rosemary and the way he treats her. After the end of the conversation, they split up, and she goes on to do her daily tasks around the store. But as she does, I bring forth a few thoughts and memories from recent events and situations she's been through. She asks herself a few questions and all. And then she is interrupted by a client entering the store, a woman that she recognizes, and another situation arises here. To be completely honest, at first, the only reason I included this part here was because I wanted to explore more of Rosemary's character as a person, her morals, and the way she chooses to react in situations like these. But also because this character here, Mary Morgan, she hasn't been mentioned before, but her family name was mentioned in the very first chapter of this novel. As Rosemary was reading the newspaper, an article mentioned the Morgan case, which was a somewhat recent tragedy that took place in Rosemary's Town. Mary Morgan appearing here shows a bit of the aftermath and how said tragedy has impacted her. But then, in another chapter down the line, I realized that this scene can have a third purpose. Not a big one, but it can be part of the main plot in a specific way. The last part of the chapter starts when Mary Morgan exits the store and Rosemary realizes that there was someone else in the store. Someone that was hidden. I know it may not make sense out of context like this, but this behavior is explained throughout the story. In any case, it turns out it's a secondary character with direct ties to the male lead, his mother. Again, this is her first ever appearance in the story, so I made sure to describe a few things about her. Her physical appearance aside, I focused on her attitude, her facial expressions, the words she chooses. She comes in saying she wants to apologize to Rose for an event that occurred a few chapters ago, but she also invites Rosemary to a ball that will take place a bit later that week. And one event brings another. It's a snowball effect until the latest chapters of the novel. If we go to different chapter outlines, it's pretty much the same template. I've tried a few different ways to outline before, but this one is the most comfortable for me. Like I said before, I get overwhelmed. Sometimes when I try to write a new chapter with ties to a previous one, or update the timeline or the plot points of the story, I can't find the key events and in which chapter they took place, especially since this is a long web novel. For example, if I'm looking for an event that took place in a specific time frame, all I have to do is look at the time frame of one of the chapters in the setting part. This will orient me and tell me if I should go back or forward to find exactly what I'm looking for. I also get easily distracted, and even though I already know what I want to include in a chapter as I'm writing it, I end up forgetting parts or adding completely new parts. That's why I personally need these outlines. But again, each and every one should work based on their own needs and what's more comfortable for them. That's not to say that I never stray away from a plan. They are not set in stone. Sometimes I do make changes to the outline as I am writing a chapter, if I get a much better idea for the future of the story, for example. The important thing is that I always note the changes down in the outline. Alrighty then, this is going to be it for this video. I do hope I was able to help at least somebody with this. I will be making another video displaying all of the changes I made to this novel outline, and most importantly, why. If you liked this video, you can leave a like, perhaps even a comment if you have any questions. And if you're not subscribed yet, then perhaps consider subscribing. This channel is about my journey as a writer, so I will be sharing my experience on different writing platforms, guides about said platforms, videos like these where I share my outlining methods, the way I like to write and do things, my book cover making process, as well as a lot of tools to help fellow writers. I do hope to see you all very soon again in another video, but until then, take care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye bye.